possible to terminate the acts of imposing unilateral and unfair sanctions and blockade on third parties by the United States and some other countries applying their national laws. Currently, several member states, including the DPRK, have been receiving negative effects directly or indirectly in all areas of national development due to the United States' unilateral acts of unfair sanctions and blockade. The government of the DPRK strongly opposes and rejects the acts of imposing unfair sanctions and blockades on the third state by invoking domestic law and the act of forcing political economic pressure on many Afro-Asian countries, including the DPRK, by abusing international law as a gross violation of the general principles of international law, which stipulates respect for sovereignty of states, non-interference in internal affairs of the other, and equality, reciprocity, and the right to free development of the state. Next to say, the Israeli inhuman practices, including massive deportation of Palestinians and the establishment of Jewish settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories, are grave violation of international law, particularly the Fourth Geneva Convention of 1949, relative to the protection of civilians in time of war. The DPRK government insists that Israel should immediately stop its acts of terror against Palestinians, withdraw from all the occupied Arab territories, and the cherished desire of the Palestinian people for their own independent statehood should be realized at an earliest date. Regarding the issues raised as the agenda items, my delegation will deliberate its position in detail at a time of separate discussion during the session. Madam President, distinguished delegates, in the DPRK today, the man-centered Tutsi idea has been thoroughly introduced in all fields of social life and rule of law highly observed. Thus, the social stability and harmony are fully and legally guaranteed under the dynamic guidance of respected leader Kim Jong-un, who brilliantly carries on the course of President Kim Il-sung and General Kim Jong-il. The DPRK people are currently exerting vigorous efforts to ensure peaceful atmosphere on and around the Korean Peninsula and the region, and to open the heydays for building a strong, thriving state and for the welfare of the people by accelerating economic construction. It is an unshakable will of our people to get a final victory by smashing any hostile forces' anti-DPRK moves to isolation and pressure, and the people of the DPRK are quite certain that the historic cause of building a thriving socialist nation and realizing national reunification will surely be accomplished. The DPRK in the future too will make strenuous efforts to ensure the recognized principles of international law are strictly observed and to establish an equal and fair international order. And we will actively participate in the work of ALCO for the progressive development of the international law and continue promoting the cooperative relations with the member states for the common interests. In conclusion, I express my hope that the 52nd annual session of ALCO will achieve a desired successful results in its deliberations. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, sir, from the DPRK. I call on Tanzania.
Your Excellency, Madam President of the 52nd Annual Session of ALCO, Madam Vice President, Your Excellency, the Secretary General of ALCO, Honorable Ministers of Justice and Attorney Generals, Heads of Delegations, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, the Government of Tanzania would like to thank the Government of India for hosting this noble event. And allow me at the outset to congratulate you, Madam President, on your very well-deserved election as the President of the 52nd session of the action of the ALCO, and to Ms. Hema, the Vice President of ALCO. My delegation has full confidence in you and assures you of our full support and cooperation. I thank and congratulate your predecessor, His Excellency Mohamed Bello Adoke, for successfully steering the work of the 51st session. A lot has been achieved, which I have no doubt will be consolidated and advanced. It would be a remiss on my part if I do not acknowledge and commend the Secretary General and the entire Secretariat for their service to the organization. Madam President, ALCO has always been dynamic in addressing current and pressing matters of international law, and the selected items under consideration during the 51st annual session are reflective of this. In this regard, we are looking forward to have continued discussions and deliberations during this 52nd session on the current topical areas of concern in the global arena. Madam President, the last ALCO extraordinary session was held in India on the 1st of December 2008. Indeed, it was a critical period for organization as we were determined to find ways to overcome the budgetary deficit that was facing ALCO. It is encouraging that during those troubled times, we all came together and adopted resolutions on overcoming the financial crisis faced by ALCO. It was this same stern commitment by ALCO member states that weathered the storm, revitalized the organization, and enabled the annual sessions of the organization to be held since 2008. As we are witnessing the end of the critical effects of the global financial crisis, I urge member states to fulfill their financial obligations toward ALCO, particularly those with arrears. ALCO is an organization which has done a lot in strengthening the Asia-Africa cooperation at the international fora, and I therefore call upon financially capable members to consider increasing their voluntary contributions towards ALCO. Needless to say, I call upon timely payment of the annual contributions of the member states that will bring about effective and efficient implementation of the mandates of ALCO. Madam President, my delegation notes with appreciation that issues concerning the law of the sea continue to occupy a place of significance in the work program of ALCO. The escalation of piracy continues to pose major threats to regional peace and stability, as well as to international shipping and trade. We have all witnessed the extent to which piracy continues to affect trade between Asia and Africa, particularly in the Eastern African region, where the scourge has developed in recent years. It is clear that piracy cannot be solved solely through regional cooperation. My delegation believes that ALCO should continue to address this problem from both global and regional perspectives and further deepen discussions on the topic among African and Asian countries. It is important for ALCO to further strengthen coordination and cooperation and continue to make unremitting efforts to deal with piracy. Tanzania remains committed in fighting against piracy on the Indian Ocean, which separates Africa and Asia. As we join hands with members of the international community in fighting against piracy on the Indian Ocean, we call upon other ALCO members to join hands in restoring security on the Indian Ocean. For decades now, environment and sustainable development has been an agenda in our annual conferences. Not only ALCO, we have also witnessed other international organizations discussing this agenda too. This is because we all share the common threats caused by global warming and climate change. We are therefore responsible in ensuring that the economic development initiatives are forged ahead. Corruption has been among the major causes of poverty in the development countries, and without taking bold steps against corruption, none of the economic growth of poverty reduction initiatives will succeed. In view of all this, Tanzania welcomes the deliberations on challenges in combating corruption. Through a challenge-oriented paradigm may be a more realistic approach to combating this problem. In pursuit of the rule of law and good governance, the United Republic of Tanzania is currently reviewing its constitution to respond to the needs of the people, to broaden the rule of law, democracy, and good governance. A commission for steering and overseeing the review process was established, and a legal framework was approved by the National Assembly to guide the participation of all Tanzanians. The first draft of the Constitution was unveiled in June this year, and all-inclusive district constitutional forums have been established countrywide, and several constitutional forums to discuss the content of the draft has been conducted. The new Constitution focuses upon building good governance by revisiting the legal and institutional frameworks of the country. The new Constitution will therefore cut across the issues that have been discussed in ALCO meetings, including corruption, environment and sustainable development, piracy, and fostering regional and international cooperation, among others. Madam President, on behalf of my delegation and my government, I would like to conclude by affirming that the United Republic of Tanzania remains aligned to the agenda of ALCO. This has been a unique platform for African and Asian region over the past years and has contributed significantly to diverse topics of contemporary international law. The forum has enabled us to bring together experiences and expertise from Africa and Asia and address substantial matters of international law and ultimately enhancing cooperation on a broad range of legal issues among member states, including highlighting views of the Asian African states to the international fora. We look forward to participate constructively in this session and partake in the tradition of robust and prolific deliberations to learn and share experiences from our African and Asian counterparts. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Tanzania. Nepal, you have the floor.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers and Ambassadors, Mr. Secretary General, Professor Dr. Rahmat Mohammed, distinguished delegates, participants, and observers, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Nepalese delegation, on my own, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the Secretary General of the Asian African Legal Consultative Organization for organizing this 52nd session in the Secretariat, New Delhi. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the outgoing President Mohamed Bello Adoke, Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his valuable contribution to the organization. Madam Chair, I appreciate the inspiring inaugural address by Mr. E. Ahmed, Minister for State for External Affairs of the Government of India. His inspiring words symbolize the historic importance attached by the Government of India to this organization. Madam Chair, this session is to be considered as a session to assess and evaluate the works of the organizations, revisit the commitments made during last 51 session, and envisage future course of action of the organization. ALCO is the only legal organization that consists of member states from both Asia and African region. We must say that ALCO had made a significant contribution to the codification and progressive development of international law through submitting its views to the General Assembly of the United Nations by collecting and consolidating the positions of its members on particular subjects which are under consideration of International Law Commission, General Assembly, and its sixth committee. It has played a vital role in creating suitable environment for setting norms and standards in various fields of international law. In order to ensure that its members have proper laws and regulations in new and emerging areas, it has developed and disseminated model laws and agreements. Nepal has always